Today is April 13th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Chapter 7, Working with Others. We'll read the second half of page 89. Out of the 12 and 12, we are on Step 12. We'll read page 112. There's a lot of 12s in that. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life's good over here. I've got a giant cup of coffee in my world's best dad coffee mug, which is in style of the Office world's best boss mug that I got at Spencer Gifts. But feeling good today. I've got my coffee in hand. Also, I went to Used Bookstore the other day and I picked up a copy of How Al-Anon Works for Families and Friends of Alcoholics. I've never read that book before. And also One Day at a Time in Al-Anon. So I'm thinking maybe when we circle back around in July after we finish everything of changing it up a little bit. Maybe do the big book, do the 12 and 12 of course, and then maybe instead of the 24 hours a day, since we'll have done all days of the year, maybe we could change it up. Who knows? Let me know if that'd be something you guys would be interested in. Send us an email, bigbookdaily@gmail.com. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends, if you recall from yesterday's reading out of the Big Book on Chapter 7, I just read a beautiful paragraph about some of the benefits of working with other people, that life will take on a new meaning to watch people recover, see them help others. It is a memory, or it is an experience we will not want to miss. So we'll finish off page 89. Perhaps you are not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. They will only be too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. You'll be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you can learn much from them if you wish. But it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs. And if you recall from yesterday's reading in 111, we started asking some interesting questions here, like how do we practice these principles in everything? Is that even possible? So we're going to ask a couple more questions about it, and we will get an answer on page 112. Can we have the same kind of confidence and faith in these people who've been affected and sometimes crippled by our own illness that we have in our sponsors? Can we actually carry the AA spirit into our daily work? Can we meet our newly recognized responsibilities to the world at large? And can we bring new purpose and devotion to the religion of our choice? Can we find a new joy of living in trying to do something about all these things? Furthermore, how shall we come to terms with seeming failure or success? Can we now accept and adjust to either without despair or pride? Can we accept poverty, sickness, loneliness, and bereavement with courage and serenity? Can we steadfastly content ourselves with the humbler, yet sometimes more durable, satisfactions when the brighter, more glittering achievements are denied us? The AA answer to these questions about living is yes. All of these things are possible. We know because we've seen monotony, pain, and even calamity turned to good use by those who keep on trying to practice AA's 12 steps. And if these are facts of life for the many alcoholics who have recovered in AA, they can become the facts of life for many more. Of course, all AAs, even the best, fall far short of such achievements as a consistent thing. without necessarily taking that first drink, we often get quite far off the beam. Our troubles sometimes begin with indifference. We are sober and happy in our AA work. Things go well at home and office. We naturally congratulate ourselves on what later proves to be a far too easy and superficial point of view. We temporarily cease to grow because we feel satisfied that there's no need for all of AA's 12 steps for us. We're doing fine on a few of them. Maybe we're doing fine on only 2 of them. The first step and part of the 12th step where we carry the message. In AA slang, that blissful state is known as two-stepping, and it can go on for years. "24 hours a day, April 13th. AA thought for the day. Having found my way into this new world by the grace of God and the help of AA, am I going to take that first drink when I know that just one drink will change my whole world? Am I deliberately going back to the suffering of that alcoholic world? Or am I going to hang on to the happiness of this sober world? Is there any doubt about that answer? With God's help, am I going to hang on to AA with both hands? Meditation for the day. I will try to make the world better and happier by my presence in it. I will try to help other people find the way that God wants them to live. I will try to be on the side of good, in the stream of righteousness, where all things work for good. I will do my duty persistently and faithfully, not sparing myself. I will be gentle with all people. I will try to see other people's difficulty and help them to correct it. I will always pray to God to act as an interpreter between me and the other person. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may live in the spirit of prayer. I pray that I may depend on God for the strength I need to help me do my part in making the world a better place. Daily Reflection, April 13th. The false comfort of self-pity. Self-pity is one of the most unhappy and consuming defects that we know. It is a bar to all spiritual progress and can cut off all effective communication with our fellows because of its inordinate demands for attention and sympathy. It is a maudlin form of martyrdom, which we can ill afford. As Bill sees it, page 238. The false comfort of self-pity screens me from reality, and then demands, like a drug, that I take an even bigger dose. If I succumb to this, it could lead to a relapse into drinking. What can I do? One certain antidote is to turn my attention, however slightly at first, toward others who are genuinely less fortunate than I, preferably other alcoholics. In the same degree that I actively demonstrate my empathy with them, I will lessen my own exaggerated suffering. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and man, do I love that daily reflection. You know, that self-pity, I have to admit, I've used that many, many times as an excuse to drink or an excuse to get some attention. It's kind of ridiculous. You know, I remember even as a kid, you know, if I'd fall or I'd get hurt or something like that, early on, my mom would tell me this. You know, I get a little scrape or something. And then all of a sudden everyone surrounds me. And that just felt so good to get that attention from people, right? And so, you know, sometimes I would feign injuries just to get attention. Which is, again, embarrassing to admit, but I did these things, right, as a kid. And as an adult, I guess I tried to be a little bit more subtle, but a lot of the motives for the things I did, and I didn't know this, was for attention or for pride. It was all about me. When I really got down to the root cause of a lot of the things I did, and I examined the motives, it was about me and what I wanted. It's pretty wild to think about. But I love what the Daily Reflection says here. When we're wallowing in this self-pity, right? Which can be very dangerous. As it says right here, if I succumb to this, it could lead to a relapse into drinking. What can I do? So what's the solution? One certain antidote is to turn my attention, and I love this, however slightly at first, toward others who are genuinely less fortunate than I. Somebody once told me, Rob, if you're depressed or if you're anxious or nervous or, in this case, pitying yourself, here's what you can do. Act. Act your way into the right thinking. I can't always trust my feelings, but I can trust what the program teaches me to do. So a lot of times, if I'm in my head or something like that, I take action. I go, okay, how can I help somebody else? And it says, however slightly at first. Does that mean I have to go to somebody's house and take them to a meeting? Not always, not necessarily. It could be as simple as, hey, how can I help my wife right now? Have I asked her how her day's been? Have I asked my kiddos how their day's been? How can I be of service to the people right around me? And then if I'm going to a meeting, how can I be of service there? Go through my contacts on my phone. Is there any friends of mine that I haven't talked to in a long time? Maybe some buddies in the rooms that I haven't talked to in a long time. Why not text them? See how they're doing. See if they need anything. And by me helping somebody else to act my way into the right thinking, eventually, I get outside of my own head, which is a scary place to be in the first place. And I'm helping somebody else. And then I love the last line. In the same degree that I actively demonstrate my empathy with them, so by acting my way into the right thinking, by trying to help them, I will lessen my own exaggerated suffering. Somehow, as a byproduct of service work, I feel better. Quick story, I told this a long time ago, I think on the show, but early on in my sobriety, I was getting a little squirrely. And I was nervous. I didn't really want to call anybody, but at the same time, I just wasn't feeling right. So finally, I picked up that 100-pound phone and I call a dear friend of mine. And I was ready to just unload all the things I was going through. But he wanted to FaceTime me. So I was like, okay. So I got on the camera on my phone and we FaceTime. And he had his little dogs with him on the bed. And he's just telling me all about his dogs and their little habits and everything. And at first I'm like, okay, yeah, I love dogs too, but I got to get this off my chest, right? But then he started making me laugh a little bit. And then he started to, tell me some funny stories about the dogs and everything. And before long, like halfway through the conversation, I'm asking more questions about the dogs and everything. And I genuinely interested and telling him about my dog and my family and my kids and all that stuff. And before long, halfway through the conversation, I was okay. I actually genuinely cared about what he was saying and what was going on in his life. But it all began with action. I had to get out of my head, quit isolating, and call somebody, get outside of myself. And then eventually, by the end of the conversation, I don't even remember why I was so upset. I hung up the phone. I don't think we ever got to my problems. But that storm cloud of self-doubt and self-pity and all that stuff, eventually, it drifted away. And I owe all that to action, acting my way into the right thinking. And I think that's what the Daily Reflection was kind of talking about. At least that's what it meant to me. But my cat's about to tear down the garage, so I guess I better go ahead and hop off here. But I hope you all have a great day today. If you are sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle and you have a great superpower to help other suffering alcoholics. And if you're not sober today, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well and you are worthy of recovery. I just pray that you get the help that you need today. And my friends, thank you so much for the emails, the kind words. I'm throwing it out there, throwing the gauntlet out there again. If anyone has a personal story you'd like me to narrate on the show, I would be honored to do that. BigBookDaily@gmail.com. I'd be honored to share your experience, strength, and hope on the show. It's my favorite part, honestly. It's all good, but I don't know. It's always exciting to hear from somebody new. And there's wisdom in every share that I've ever heard. There's always something we could learn. But my friends, if we were given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.